Hennessy, come out and play. This is it, Jennifer. Your big breaking TV.
Yo, what's poppin', Henny? Gang, 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 gang. Bar is open, y'all. I smell a debunking video coming on. Child. Least we not forget, this is Hennessy Reviews.
The time.
What's poppin', everybody? Welcome back to the bar. It's your girl, Henny, and I'm about to pour plenty of the hot Henny that y'all love to sip on. So if you are new here, please be sure to like, comment, and of course, subscribe. Click that notification bell, select all so that you get notified whenever I do a video. And shout out to all of my new subscribers. Welcome to the bar. Sit down, get comfy, and enjoy the pour-ups. Now, if you are a returning Mob Down Henny Gang member, yeah, what's poppin', gang, 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 gang? Now let's get into this content. So last night I brought y'all part 1 of my multi-part series on Tammy Cowins, however you want to say it. And I'm breaking down her timeline piece by piece, dude by dude. Okay, so last night we went all the way back to 1995 and we went through the timeline of her and her first husband, Anthony Cowins. Now, tonight we are going to get into the next man that was on her list, and that would be this man right here. Sorry if you're watching this, Terry White, that we had to use this mugshot of you, but this was the only picture that we could find. But this is Terry White. Now, if y'all remember, Terry White is the gentleman that she was seeing while she was still married to Anthony Cowins. Okay, now, Tammy, let me see if I can write this down for y'all real quick. If you remember from the last video, Anthony passed away on April 22nd of 2007 in a motorcycle accident, right? And this came after her divorce was dismissed on August 21st of 2006. And 2006 is when Terry enters into the fold. The plot thickens, right? I know. But I'm going to explain to you why I'm bringing up the dates, okay? Because I wanted y'all to understand that she was married to Anthony in 1995, okay? And they separated from one another in 2005. In 2006, she filed for a divorce, and that's when she was also seeing Terry White. Now, like I explained last night, the timeline of Meech and Blue and all of that happened in 2003, and as where we are right now, child, we way beyond that. Okay. So let's get into tonight's part. All right. So by this time, Tammy was already speaking to Cuffy. Okay. Now, let me go ahead and let me get a picture of Cuffy up here on this screen for y'all, for those of y'all who don't know or whatever. But I just feel like I want to put Cuffy up on the screen while we're talking about his portion of this story. All right. So at this time, Tammy's already speaking with Cuffy. All right. She's talking to him on the phone. And according to what Cuffy said, their conversations were about Meech and his well-being. They were never, let me fix my screen. They were never about any of the street business that Cuffy had going on with Meech. Okay. And Meech and Cuffy, and I'm just doing this for those who may not know the whole story, who are new coming into it. But Meech and Cuffy were longtime friends. All right. Cuffy is the one who gave Meech his first $1 million. And the two were so close that they ate at one another's family dinner tables. Okay. They slept on each other's couches, and Cuffy made Meech his daughter's godfather. So this is like really crazy work, you guys. All right. Now, also in 2006, this is where Fidel Suarez comes into play. Now, if you don't know who Fidel is the Mexican nationalist that met Meech when Meech was locked up in, what is the name of that prison? Sinclair County Jail out there in Detroit. All right. But as you can see on this paperwork, Fidel was released in 2006. He beat his case. He was in there. All right, let me back up. Let me back up because I'm moving too fast right now. Let me back up. So Meech was locked up in Sinclair County Jail back in Detroit, right? Right. While he was in Sinclair County, he met Fidel, and him and Fidel became friends. So Fidel, when he got released, because he beat his case, he was acquitted of all his charges. He got out in 2006. So shortly after he got out, he reached out to Tammy to check on Meech. And I know, like, some people are like, well, how did he get Tammy's number? Meech, because Meech was already in communication with Tammy. And she was the go-to person. If anybody wanted to talk to Meech, check on Meech, pass a message or anything like that, they went through Tammy. If they wanted to find out where he was, they went through Tammy. If they wanted information on how to put money on his books, send him a care package, they went through Tammy. Everything was going through Tammy because she was that point of contact. So it's not hard to assume that Meech, while they were locked up, was like, oh yeah, man, if you want to get in communication with me, you want to contact me, keep up with me or whatever, keep in touch, call this number. And the number that he gave was Tammy. All right. So now, because I've done a lot of jumbling around, let me give you a recap of where we are. Anthony, the first husband, has already passed away. Tammy is talking to Fidel and Cuffy already, and she's in a relationship with Terry White. Okay. So now we're all caught up on everything. Now let's dig deep into this because, yeah, it is time. So Terry was a major player out there in the Atlanta streets, okay? He had already been arrested in 1993. Let me get that up for y'all. And here we go. Boom. Here is y'all proof, okay? Okay. Now, Terry, like I said, he was already a mover. Terry was already moving and shaking out there in them Atlanta streets. And when I say moving and shaking, he was really moving and shaking because, as you can see from the court doc, okay, back in 1993, Terry caught a felony cocaine possession with intent to distribute. And when he was about 2021, he confirmed that he was also caught a heroin possession with intent. So he was out there already moving weight. But by this time, between 2006 and 2009, he was moving that good old Mary Jane and he was laundering money, okay? Now, it's unknown how Terry met Tammy because it's never discussed in any of the court docs. But Jack Harvey, in his transcripts from Dion Cuffy Gatling's Frank's hearing, he described their relationship as an unusual relationship, okay? He did say that the two of them, they ended up bonding over, I guess, conversations about religion and fashion, working out and dieting. And Terry eventually became so comfortable with Tammy that he started telling her about how he made his millions, all right? Terry also had a common law wife, and he was also seeing other women. And he would talk to Tammy about the situations, the problems he was going through with the other women and all of that. Child, a mess, right? A mess. But Jack Harvey also went on to describe Terry as braggadocious, okay? And he said that he had a bad history, a bad drug history. Now, I don't know what that means. I guess he's talking about Terry, having I guess, all of these drug charges or whatever. So yeah, he's like, yeah, this dude is no good. But he said that he had a record of drugs and violence. That's what he said. I'm glad that I pulled the court doc up onto the screen so that y'all can see it for yourselves. But he said that Terry was a very braggadocious guy with a bad record of drugs and violence. I don't even know if she knew about about his violent background. And she was a little afraid of him. I had told her, don't go near him. Usually I would tell an informant to get up close to him. With her, I said, stay away. Now that's quoting Jack Harvey from his transcript in the Dion Cuffy Gatling Frank hearing. Okay. Now, allegedly, and I'm heavy on the allegedly, because Jack claimed that Tammy was naive to drug culture, but possessed an understanding of it, and the dangers due to her rough background and her husband being a crackhead. Now, listen, I didn't say it. Henny did not say that. Jack Harvey, matter of fact, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to show y'all better than I can tell y'all. I didn't say that. Jack Harvey said that. Okay. He said it right here. Okay, right here, right here. All right. Those is his words. He called that lady man a crackhead. I gotta get my soundboard back up because boom, boom, that's what we need right now. Anyway, because anyway, he claimed Tammy was anti-drugs and Terry knew this, yet here this man was, knowing that this woman was anti-drugs, running his mouth like a running faucet, bragging to Tammy. But you know what? Pause. Because I wonder, how long did it take her to play him into a level of comfortability with her where he just felt like, oh, I could just bare my soul to you. And I'm gonna also say this because I'm sorry, nothing about Tammy gives me she's green to the street. She has street knowledge and she's a fast learner, but most of all, she gives me that she's a master manipulator. Okay, let's just keep it all the way a bean and a buck. Nothing about this woman says naive to me, not the way she's been moving. And we ain't even get into the meat and potatoes. We still at the appetizer. Okay, we done moved from the salad to the appetizer, just so you know where we are. All right. Now, if you're wondering just how deep did Terry trust her, this man done sat up here and brought her into his money laundering scheme. So Terry will wash his money. Let me tell you how he washed his money. All right. Terry will wash his money by having people give him cashier checks, and the checks will be made out to his shell company, the Terry White Group, right? And he would cash the checks like he was a check cashing company. And then he would give them the money for the check and then take that check and deposit it. So he would give them the dirty money and take that check and go get some clean money. That's how he was doing that. Or what he would do is he would have people take like cash advances off of their credit cards, and they would give him the clean money from the cash advance off the credit cards, and he would then give them the dirty money back. And then they would take that dirty money and they would go pay their credit card bill. Got it? Baby. Listen. So now Tammy, she was taking advances off of her credit cards, and she would do the exchanges with Terry. But Terry wasn't always paying her all her money back. I don't know. Like, sometimes you have partners, be a male or a female, they borrow money from you. They don't feel like they got to pay you back. So maybe he felt like because he was sleeping with her and he was whining and dining her and buying her gifts, maybe he felt like he didn't have to pay her monions back all the way. Like, I'm going to give you a couple dollars because I'm going to end up taking you to Ruth Chris, or I'm going to end up taking you to wherever it is that's the most hottest spot, that's the biggest bucks, that's where all the big spenders go. I don't know. I'm going to end up taking you out to dinner later, or taking you on this trip, or buying you this jewelry, which, by the way, when we get into all of the stuff that was confiscated from Terry, this man was like a collector of jewelry. He really was. Like, he was just spending money and putting it in a safety deposit box. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. So I'm just assuming that that's why he probably felt like he didn't have to pay her back all of her money. But apparently this must have been done on multiple occasions. Okay. So like one time in 2006, Tammy and two other people did a wash for Terry, and the amount exceeded $100,000. Right. And guess what? She didn't get her money back. Shaking my head, like just shaking my head. She didn't get all the money back. And let me just say this. If I don't get my money back, if you borrow money from me or do something where it requires you to run me back my money, and you don't run me back my money the first time, there won't be a second, third, fourth, fifth time that you ever get to ask me to borrow no money again. And it's not a matter of, and I'm speaking about me, it's not a matter of strapped for cash or whatever, because I was always taught that if you can't stand to lose it, then don't let somebody borrow it, because you have to let somebody borrow from you with the anticipation that you're not going to get it back. But a lot of times people borrow or do things for other people with the expectation of getting it back because they need it back. If you can't stand to lose it, you don't let it be borrowed, because it may not return back to you. But if you show me it's about you giving me your word and you telling me I'm going to pay you back, and you don't pay me back, you ain't got to ever worry about that again. I'm not going to switch up on you. I'm not going to change up on you. But if the conversation ever turns to that, oh, you getting a solid no. And that's just it. I don't care who you are. You could be my man. No, you said on this day that you was going to do and you didn't do it. So your word, you don't stand on it because your word should be a bond. But anyway, so between like 2006 and 2008, right? Well, let's get back to this timeline. I don't know exactly what happened between Terry and Tammy, but whatever happened, Terry must have effed up badly with her because in April of 2008, after contacting an ex-con and playing dumb, let me see if I can get that document up here for y'all real quick because y'all have to see that it definitely says an ex-con. You have to see that it says ex-con because people miss this part right here. And I kind of want to, there we go. Let me get this up on the screen for y'all. I don't like my screen like this. I want y'all to see me, see you seeing me. Anyway, so according to this court document, right? This is when she reached out to him. She reached out to him in April of 2008. Okay, but I want to. Is this where it said it? Yes. So I want y'all to pay attention to what's being said here. So the Terry White case, she reached out to you. Yes. So this is Jack Harvey being questioned, and the answers are Jack Harvey, right? So they said, how did she do that? So Jack Harvey goes on to say, well, it's a little convoluted. All right. She had first told another individual about the situation she had gotten into with White and how she wanted to sort of get away from that situation. And she asked his advice as to whether this person thought she had broken the law. And that person told her, yeah, you did. You stepped in it. You better try to get out of it. And this person that she talked to was an ex-con and knew me. Now, put a pin in that right there because a lot of y'all are out here saying it was Meech. Some of y'all are out here saying it was Blue. But the key phrase in this sentence is this part right here, the ex-con part. Now, we're talking about April of 2008. At that point in time, Meech would not be considered an ex-con because he is still incarcerated. He's locked up in the feds. And I'm not sure when Blue Da Vinci got picked up, but it was sometime in 2008, but he was not an ex-con at that time. And at that time, Blue was also on the run. If he hadn't been picked up already, he was on the run. So it wouldn't have been him. But for those who like conspiracies, what if, because remember, Meech is in the background of all of this. I mean, it could have been Meech told her to talk to somebody or whatever, but the fact that it says that it's an ex-con and they knew him, I mean, come on. You can't throw that on them. I'm just putting that out there. Like when it says something in black and white that doesn't add up, you can't try to make 2 and 2 be 6 when it's 4 all day long. And this is 4 to me right here. But anyway, the ex-con who knew Jack Harvey gave her his name. And so she called he called Jack Harvey and told him, hey, expect a call from this lady. And she called Jack Harvey later. So the same day that the number was given to her is the same day that she made the call to Jack Harvey. Okay. But anyway, let me just say this to y'all. From that statement right there, she's playing dumb, asking this person whether or not she had laundered money. Did she break the law and all of this and all of that hoopla? But remember, Tammy, she's a senior claims adjuster for Goldman Sachs. Did y'all forget that part? Let me remind y'all. And this time I don't even care how the screen come up. Let me remind y'all. Y'all remember this right here from the divorce where she said right here that she was employed as a senior claims adjuster, making an annual income of approximately $43,000. Oh, let me correct that now. Last night I said $43,000 a month. I actually meant to say $43,000 annually. That's what she was making, $43,000 annually, and Tony Anthony was bringing home $41,000 annually. Shout out to the person who pointed that out to me. Thank you so much. I'm never above correction. Okay. So thank you for pointing that out. Also, I had said $265 when it was actually something like what was it? It was like 200 and it was $625 and I said $225. So again, forgive me for that as well. But I also did not show y'all this, and I want to show y'all how I knew it was April. Because right here, Jack Harvey says, okay, now they ask him, now you met her in about 2008, sir. Is that correct? And he says, yes, April of 2008. So this is where I'm getting this information from. Let me tell you, a lot of this Terry White information that I'm giving came from Jack Harvey, and it came from Terry White's case. That's why I'm flipping through all of this and I'm trying to get all of this out because it's a lot of information. But anyway, how I know that she worked for Goldman Sachs is right here. It says it right there. It says, now I don't want you to particularly say where you were working at, but can you just describe the general nature of your employment? And she says, well, manage all the new hires. I was managing all of the new hires and quality assurance of the company for Goldman Sachs at the time. Goldman Sachs is a financial institution. So you're telling me, and matter of fact, if you have an Apple credit card, I have an Apple credit card. The Apple credit card is through Goldman Sachs. That's who's calling you. You miss a payment, they calling you like, what's going on? And I actually like them. Like out of all the credit card companies, I like them and I like Capital One. I don't really tangle with Discover too tough. Like I don't like them. I'm about to, just pay them off and be like, hey, you could close that account. But anyway, she works for a financial institution, y'all. And you're going to find out later on in this paperwork exactly what this means by her working at a financial institution. Do not take this statement that she's making to be what it was. What the hell? StreamYard, nobody told you to take my paper up off the screen now. You're just doing what you want to do. Anyway, back to what I was saying before we was rudely interrupted. Don't take this. She was just doing the new hires and all of that stuff. Because, baby, we're going to find out a whole lot more as this case unfolds. But anyway, let's get back into the story. But yeah, I'm not buying that. She didn't know that she was laundering money thing, that little bit that she put on for that ex-con. And then guess what? When Tammy first spoke to Jack Harvey, guess what she did? She played the damsel in distress, okay? And she told him, oh, I don't know if I broke the law. I don't want to be a target in Terry's case. But the crazy thing about all of this is there was no case. There was no case until Tammy came and do-si-doed her ass up in that office. And that's when they decided that they was going to open up a case. Okay? Now, let me bring that up. Let me pull that up for y'all. And I appreciate y'all for allowing me to do my thug thizzle, my little 1-2 up here and being patient with me because I'm pulling this up. I'm pouring it up. I'm pouring it up. So we're going to go right here. We're going to read the statements. But isn't it true that when she first came to you, she had concerns about actually being a target in that case? Jack Harvey, yes. She did, yes, but question. And she had a concern about being a target in the case because, as you stated, she perhaps was duped into laundering money from Mr. White. So now here go Mr. Harvey. There was no case until she came. But she had done something, purchased cashier's checks made under his direction, made payable to the Terry White Group, which was like a non-existent corporation. And then he would give her the cash to reimburse her for the cashier's check. She didn't know it was drug money. I told her, yeah, you laundered money, but I told her right from the start, you're not going to be prosecuted for that. You never would be. Girl, Jack Harvey, I don't know. It's like this girl has like the golden snatch or something, or like the golden tongue. She just tells people stuff and they just believe everything that she says. Oh, she came to me naive. Oh, she didn't know. You can't sit up here and tell me that she didn't know it was drug money when she was over there running her mouth. She knew what it was. She knew what she was doing. You can't tell me you work in a financial institution and you don't know what money laundering is. You knew, but you didn't want to lose that good job. Okay. You couldn't afford to end up in Click Click City because at this point in time, she got Meech's life rights. Okay. She got his life rights, and there's other things that she's doing that we're going to get into a little later on. Okay. But now let's get back to this timeline. So now if you haven't heard, okay, wait, let me back up for a second because there's a lot that I want to tell you. All right. When Tammy went up there and she ran her mouth, right? She put the DEA in that man's business so hard that he had the financial investigators on him for the money laundering that he was doing. And the only thing that she could not give them was his drug operation because she had very little knowledge about that part of everything. Like he would brag to her, but she wasn't like privy to the workings of everything, right? So she knew it was there. She just didn't know how it worked. But do you think that stopped this girl from trying to be the world's greatest informant? No, it didn't. And this next part I'm about to tell you, if you haven't heard this part of the transcript, get ready for a ride. Okay? You haven't heard this part. If you haven't read this part for yourself, get ready for a ride because this chick, she decided that she was going to try to get Terry on a recording saying that she didn't know what she was doing when she was laundering the money, right? Because she wanted to basically make sure that she remained clean in this case. And you know what? Like I said just a minute ago, she stood consequences and repercussions with her good job at Goldman Sachs. Now, if she was making $43,000 a year back in 2003 or 2006, then if she had an annual bump by 2008, 2 years later, she was probably making maybe 45, 46,000 a year now. I don't know. I don't know what their increases are, but she wasn't trying to lose that good job. Okay. So she needed her name to remain clean. So how did she do that, Henny? Let me tell you. So apparently she had this phone number that they gave her, right? So she called the DEA. She's in the car with Terry. They going down the street or whatever. So she called the number and flips the phone over so he can't see that she's on a phone call. She flips the phone over and the feds are on the phone listening like, yep, oh, wow. Did you hear that? Did you hear this? They just listening on to everything that he's saying. And yes, she did get him to admit that she didn't know what she was doing. She got him to say it, right? But that's not all she got him to say because this fool went and started running his mouth again. And this time he was telling her about the drugs while he was bragging to her. And guess what? The feds caught it all. But, are y'all ready for the kicker? Because I'm about to give you the kicker. The kicker is he did all of this while driving with her to go visit Meech. I know y'all don't believe me. Those of y'all who haven't heard this part already, I know y'all don't believe me. Hold on. I'm about to show you. I'm about to show you better than I could tell you, baby, because it's right here. Because I said, oh, I felt like Weebay. Remember, Weebay was like, oh, that's how I felt when I seen this. Wait a minute, let me pull this up because I know some of y'all ain't been reading this. Some of y'all have been waiting for me. Shout out and salute to y'all, but it's right here. Matter of fact, let me zoom in for y'all so you could really see this. And my question, and I'll try to get it wait a minute. And my question, and I'll try to get it concise here. What did you do in the Terry White case? Now, this is from Tammy's transcript from the Deion Gatling Frank's hearing. So Tammy's answering right now, and she says, basically, I had Terry White to confess that my motive per se is for him to admit that I didn't know what I was doing in regards to getting money off my credit card, which he did. And I had that on a phone call where I dialed the number and turned the phone over while we're driving out of town. He rode with me to go see Meech, a visit one day in the car. And he started talking about all his drug deals, etc., etc. So that's kind of how it happened. Now, I'm gonna be honest with y'all, because I don't know if he was riding with her to help her drive, if she told him like, oh, this is my family, whatever, I'm going to go see my cousin, my brother, my god brother, whatever. I don't know if that's what she told him and she got him to hop up in that car and ride along with her, or if Terry actually knew Meech or whatever. But there it is in black and white for y'all. He was with her in the car riding to go see Meech a visit. Ooh, listen. Maybe she'll clear that up in the documentary, because this is one of those things. Remember, I said there's things in this thing that lead you to a lot of questions that have no answers, and this is one of them. So maybe in the documentary with 50, she gonna clear this up. And somebody go tell 50 to run me a bag, okay? And give him my Cash App, all right? Because when I'm done with this, all he's gonna have to do is sit back and watch these videos and have her fill in the blank. I swear to God. I swear to God, okay? Anyway, I also feel like it's important to tell y'all that she, at this point, was like recording conversations between she and Terry. She was going and meeting up with Agent Jack Harvey, and she's telling him like different things that are going on. And yeah, she was giving it all up. She was giving up all the goods on Terry, okay? And we're only in 2008, and at this point, she's not considered a confidential source. She's considered a confidential informant. I feel like y'all need to hear that. She's not considered a confidential source. She is an informant, all right? She was not being paid yet. She was doing all of this for the free. And she was still sleeping with Terry, might I add. So now we're going to fast forward to 2009, right? So Terry is making a run to pick up a delivery of some Mary Jane. And somebody at the shipping yard makes a phone call. Matter of fact, I could show y'all better than I could tell y'all. Let me get over here to this document for y'all, this good old document for y'all, so y'all could read along with me. And matter of fact, I think I'm gonna just read this part for you. All right, so let me pull this up really quickly for y'all so y'all can see it. Let me get my screen how I like it. Ready? All right, so YCR Inc., formerly Yellow Freight Transportation, had contacted TFO Bobby Joe Prater, an officer with Cobb County Sheriff's Office assigned to MCS Narcotics and presently attached as a task force officer to the DEA Task Force Group 3 in reference to a suspicious package they had at the Freight Center in Marietta, Georgia, okay? The package in question was a blue air compressor mounted on a pallet. YCR advised TFO Prater that the reason for their concerns for the package was the amount of money that was paid to ship it and the manner in which it was shipped. Okay, the blue compressor had some discoloration of paint and appeared to be dented. The fitting looked odd on the side of the container. So because of that, that's why they ran down on Terry. Baby, let me tell you how they ran down on Terry, child. I'm about to tell y'all how they ran down on Terry. Okay, wait a minute. Hold up. way. All right. So as I'm pulling this document up, let me go ahead and let me just say this to y'all. It wasn't Tammy that got Terry taken down. All right. So what the heck? Give me my stuff. Stop playing with me. Stop playing with me. Okay. Boom and 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 boom. Okay. All right. So, factual background. This is document 68 in the Terry White case. It says on July 2nd, 2009, DEA Task Force Officer Bobby Joe Prater received a phone call from the manager of YCR Inc. about a suspicious package. The package in question was a compressor which was shipped from Brownsville, Texas to Airport Industrial in Cobb County, Marietta, Georgia. Okay, the package was shipped by a Louis Garcia and was to be picked up by a Charles Revere, according to the document. Prior to the proposed recipients picking up the compressor, the officers did an initial inspection of the compressor and determined that based on their experience, they believed the compressor contained Mary Jane. Okay, they requested a search warrant and were awaiting the search warrant. The officers and the other task force officers were dispatched to the location where they waited in hiding for those who were intending to pick up the package to arrive. A red Ford 150 ultimately arrived and Charles Revere signed for the package. TFO Prater, acting as a dock worker, loaded the compressor onto the truck. Terry White, who was originally in the passenger seat, was directed by Revere to back the truck up to the loading dock so that the compressor could be placed in the truck. TFO Prater loaded the compressor into the truck. Thereafter, Mr. White exited the driver's side and approached the passenger side. Terry White was arrested by DEA task force officers working in conjunction with Cobb County. TFO Billy Wade Walker effectuated the arrest on Mr. White, which arrest was also determined to be appropriate by TFO Bobby Joe Prater. TFO Walker made the initial arrest and Mr. White, he was handcuffed and placed in the back of the patrol car. Okay, and we're going to stop there with that doc right there. Now,
sorry, I don't understand.
I wasn't talking to you. I don't understand why you're listening. Now, I'm going to put a pin in this story. And I know y'all are probably like, God dang it, Hitty. I have to put a pin in this story because I think that was enough for y'all to digest for the night. I don't want to overload y'all. So don't worry. Part 2 of Terry White's portion, which will now be part 3 of the series, will be dropped tomorrow. Trust me, you don't want to miss out on it because baby Tammy, she's a piece of work, okay? But listen, y'all tell me what y'all think down in the comment section below. Do you think Terry was driving with her to see Meech because he knew him and they were cool or something? Why do you think Terry was driving with Meech? Or was he just helping her to drive? Let me know. And what do you think Terry did to piss Tammy off and make her go to the DEA? Or do you think that she was just really concerned about her catching charge? Or is she just that scandalous? I don't know. But y'all let me know what y'all think down in the comment section below. Be sure to like the video on the way out. If you're a new subscriber, welcome, welcome. Shout out to everybody. I love y'all, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace, everybody.